What's going on, everybody? This is Nick from House of Paint 203, bringing you part 3 of the Efreeti series. He has been based, washed, mid-toned, and in this part we are going to be looking to give him some final highlights, as well as bring out some of the smaller details in his face, and of course, work up his base. So we still have a lot of stuff to do. Let's jump right in. As always, I want to give a special shout out to friend of the show, Dominic Marriott, owner and founder of Crit UK, all the way across the pond in the UK. Dominic is a crafter of dice trays, dice vaults, dice boxes, dice towers. You name it, Dominic makes it. You should check out his stuff so that you can up your game at your gaming table today. Also, while you're here, be sure to smite like and slam subscribe so that you can stay up to date on all the latest content that I am putting out there in my quest to paint the manual. And of course, today we are finishing up the Efreeti. The first thing I'm going to do here is I've taken a mix of some Rosy Shadow, which is a bit of a lighter flesh tone, and I've mixed it with the original Minotaur hide that I used on him, and I'm going to see if I can apply this to the upper areas here. I actually like that a lot. Meet it with some Minotaur hide in the back. All right, legs are about done. I think we're gonna go ahead and move on to the upper body. Start off on his backside here. I think before I go any further, I'm going to try to add some redness to this with a little bit of a glaze. So what I've done is I've mixed some bloody red with some of my Minotaur hide. I'm just going to be spreading this around the miniature, just in the hopes to kind of add some cohesion to everything, because as of right now, it looks a little blotchy to me. I don't know if blotchy is the right word, but heavily diluted paint. I noticed as I was doing it that even though I was getting some pretty good highlights with the Rosy shadow and Minotaur hide, it was taking away from the redness that is intended for the Efreeti. So I'm hoping this glaze can keep those highlights in there, but just tint them a little bit so that we can get the true red nature. So we'll let that sit and dry. So I apologize. I went ahead and I thought I was filming. I was not filming. I went ahead and took some frost blue. Part two, I used a mixture of frost blue and macragge blue to give the skirts a mid-tone highlight. And in this version, in this part, I took the frost blue by itself and I went right over the upper areas of the folds of his skirts. So you can see the upper folds of his skirt now have that highlight applied right there. I'm now going to go in, I'm going to take some polished gold and go over his bracers, specifically around the edge. a sword. I graze these coins here. Maybe just a little poke on his scrolls. I'm gonna get up on his brace, on his little arm thing too. Alright, so he is almost done. Not a whole lot left to do except some minor details. I gotta put his eyeballs in there. It actually went better than I thought it would. And it looks like he's got like that little Captain Morgan shin beard thing going there. Definitely has a gold earring, so. Try to accentuate that. There it is. I mean, I guess I could give him some highlights on his shawl. And I gotta do his horns still, so maybe I'll do that. Horns here, I'm using a heavy Siena for his horns. I really want to start bringing out some of these highlights on his, I guess his sash. So I'm going with some leather brown. I'm very carefully just picking out the raised edges. I didn't want to risk a dry brush here.
The lower lips of the folds. Excuse me, the upper lips of the folds.
Gonna apply a little bone white to the scrolls just to brighten them up a little bit. All right, all that's really left now is the base that he's standing on. Gonna apply a layer of dungeon stone around his feet to serve as a base coat for the base. All right, so now that his base is completely based, I'm going to spread some Nuln oil across. This will also be an all-over coat. Really just looking to get the Nuln oil in the deeper recesses of the stone. All right, I think that's good for the wash, so we'll wait for that to dry. All right, that's just about dry, so I'm gonna go in now with a little Stonewall Gray as for a highlight, and we go with a dry brush. Now, while that was drying, I kind of experimented a little bit with one of the model effects that I have here, or the base effects that I have, and that effect is actually fire. So it's actually very similar to what I've been using, or it is similar to what I've been using in that it's, they're stickers. They're meant to kind of give the illusion of fire. Or since he can conjure fire at will, I was like, well, let me surround him with fire a little bit. So I kind of mapped him out on here to see kind of where I wanted him. I'll give him a little bit of time to kind of sit there and dry. While he's doing that, I'll explain what I'm going to be using next. So I have these that I also used on the Young Red. If you haven't checked that out yet, you should go check that out. I just painted the Young Red Dragon a couple projects ago. This is Scorched Earth, so I figured I would kind of top this off with some Scorched Earth, maybe one right there, and kind of one on the back. Kind of want to cover this little hole up right there. I don't know what that was all about, but yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. So that is the Efreeti. Again, one of the giants in the Monster Manual. I'm sorry, not one of the giants, one of the genies in the Monster Manual. And also a new release from Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures and WizKids Games from the Wave 13, series. So once again, the Efreeti. And as always, I thank you for watching. Information on how to follow me on all my social media platforms is immediately following the video, as is information on how to follow Dominic Marriott of Crit UK. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Going to start off here by covering the entire flat portion of the blade with a thin layer of Rhinox hide. Next, I'm mixing Rhinox hide with some leather brown and applying it while the Rhinox hide is still a little wet. Now I'm taking a little orange fire and I'm going to apply it to the lower portion of the flat part of the blade, and I'm going to let these all kind of mix in with each other naturally. Switching to the edge of the blade, I'm taking a mixture of heavy blue, gray, and white, and I am plotting out the areas that I want the sword to have the most shine. Now I'm taking a mixture of midnight blue and heavy blue gray and working it up into that lighter mixture that I had to try and give it a blend. Revisiting the flat portion of the blade with a little bit more orange fire for a little touch up. Now I'm adding some points of pure white where I want it to look like the sword is glinting. Now I'm going to take a little bit of black and try and run it just on the top of the flat portion to try and establish the delineation between the flat part of the blade and the edge of the blade. And there we have it, my first shot at a non-metallic metal sword for the Efreeti.